So this whole field is covered in low tunnels in the winter.
Low tunnels?
Yep, which are just short units over each bed. They're about this tall. And so these onions, there's probably a tag at the end there that shows the date that these were seeded. Yeah, so these were seeded November 6th. And what this is a seed bed of onions, where we start the onions in November or December in very dense plantings, and then in the spring they're moved out. So these onions came from these seed beds. So they get shuffled out, and most of the onions are in the other field, but there's some here at least to show you examples of. And we are in the process of trialing all the different varieties and seed dates, because some of them bolt and some of them don't from fall harvest. So you know, we're still adjusting all that kind of thing. But you can see that the yield of this onion bed is going to be phenomenally high. They're, you know, these become, like, that's a great example there. That's an old seed bed, right? But yet, the soil is almost entirely covered in onion. And so they can be planted rather closely, and so often we just let the excess from the seed beds go to maturity. Obviously, they're going to be smaller and things like that than the transplanted ones. Yet, seeds, November 6th, under a hoop tunnel. Under hoop tunnel till March.
Do they germinate?
And then they're growing straight through the winter. And they're, I mean, we were setting transplants in, these probably went in March, that were, you know, the size of your little finger. When normally we would just be starting them in a greenhouse, you know, putting seeds into it, and they're already, you know, plants, you know, just huge plants. So it can get us a reasonably high onion yield. And so we do a lot of that, especially fall seeding crops, instead of starting them in the spring and then transplanting them during the course of the winter or early spring and setting them at various spacings in the field. So we do a lot of that. And so one of the important concepts to understand with that process is the process of the winter annual, which is that an onion is an annual crop. It's often referred to as a biennial, but that's not actually accurate. It starts its growth. Normally, it would start it in, so these had seed heads, right? So they would dump the seed down in, say, August and September. The onion would grow over winter. You would get a small little onion. And then in the spring, they would bolt and they would dump down seeds. They grow for 1 year. They grow starting in the late summer and they end in the late summer. So a tremendous amount of vegetables are winter annuals. Everything that doesn't die in frost, essentially, is a winter annual. They all are meant to start their growth in summer, form a beet, a carrot, a cabbage, an onion, a radish, whatever portion that is, that's meant to overwinter. That's the overwintering portion of the crop. So that then goes to flower in the spring and dumps down seeds in the summer. So to understand the winter annual cycle is very important for year-round cropping, because A, it means that trying to seed a radish in the spring is completely the opposite of what it naturally would be doing. It would be bolting in the spring. And so you're working against tremendous amounts of natural forces by trying to seed things in the spring. Not that we don't do it and it can't be done, but it is so much easier to start a radish in August and have it ready for fall harvest, and it's planning to go through winter. And we sow seed radishes tremendously in the fall. And so, but in the case of the onion or the beet, it is important to realize that if you seed a beet in October, it is not going to have time to size up a root before winter, and then it's going to bolt right away in the spring, right? So where is that cutoff period, right? You know you can start it in spring, and beet's not going to bolt. and you know if you start in October, it's going to bolt. So where exactly is the cutoff period? And so that's what we're constantly determining on various crops. And so these onions were seeded in November and December, different varieties, and they're all evaluated. So these, which were seeded November 6th, did not bolt, right? If we had seeded them in October, they may well have bolted. This